Hi, Ann Cornick from Paint and Porcelain and Paint and Porcelain Exchange. So let me show you some that I've worked on. They're right here. Oop, bang. Okay, so this is that's my little guy, my little cardinal. And this is my little bunny. Okay. And then I did this. Now this is the pine cones, but notice the back. Look at how rich the luster went on, and it looks like I mixed it in water, but I didn't, and I'm going to show you that technique. You can do it at the same time that you're actually painting these ornaments, and saves yourself a lot of time. And then this, of course, is my darling little, there he is, my darling little raccoon. So I wanted to do a few more nature types of ornaments to put in my booth. I've taken and I've traced on or drawn on my bird with holly, which is what we're going to be working on today. So we're going to start, I'm using like a yellow brown, and we're just going to put in the yellow brown on his little back. Oh, not too heavy. I'm using a very tiny brush, as you can see. Now, it's the tinier the brush, generally, as you can see here, the heavier the strokes come on. And so sometimes we use a much bigger brush just to get a nice soft stroke. So let me go up to, this is a 1/4 inch. I'm going to try this. And we'll get a little yellow brown on here. And I'll just put it right here like this. Yeah, see how easy that is to kind of smooth it and make it look nice? And then I'm going to put a little on the top of his, under his, where his wings would be, so that you can just barely see it. And I'm doing little C strokes to get it in there, like this, okay? Alrighty, and then for his beak, I'm also using the yellow-brown for a change. And we're just going to put in his little beak. Put in one side and then the other. This is the first coat. You have plenty of time to do the second coat and to adjust the colors and to adjust how you put it on here and everything, so that it's not, you don't want it too big. So where is my thing here? See, I think it's a little too big. So I'm going to use my, this is what we call a Pico-Pay eraser, and push it back a little bit. Okay, now let's talk about the black on here. I'm going to start with his eyes. Eyes are all important. And I'm just going to use my little tiny, this is my little tiny art brush. And a lot of times it's a good idea to sort of test it on a tile first if you're afraid that you may not get the, you may have lumps or what have you on there. And you're just going to tease around there, around the eye, gently. Okay? It doesn't have to be a heavy black. You know, it can be a light black now. You've always got time on the next one. Try to leave a little light in the middle. That's what we're looking for here, is a little light in the middle. And then you want to also leave a little light around it. So now I'm going to take, going back to my, I don't know which brush this is. I think it's like a 1/4 inch or an 1/8 of an inch. See how tiny it is there? But I'm using this brush. And I'm going to pick up a little black. Actually, you could even do a blue-black if you wanted, because that helps on the first coat, and then on the second coat you can put in the darker black. And you're just going to gently tease it in there, leaving a little white around his eye so that it's there. I've got a little blue-black, and I'm mixing it with a little bit of black and just doing this. But if you don't have blue-black, don't sweat the small stuff. If you have any kind of a navy or a dark blue, that's great. That would work too. And you're just doing this on his head, making his little head. Now, the smaller items that you work on, the easier, generally speaking, because you don't have to do as much detail. And I know a lot of people get hung up in detail. That's great. And if you like doing detail, more power to you. But quite frankly, a lot of people are never going to notice the amount of detail you put into things. So take your time. And if you decide you need detail, do it. But if you don't, just make sure that what you do is simple and simple and pretty, and, you know, doesn't require the detail, that you've already got a nice clean painting in there. So I'm going to do the bottom of him now, the little part under his throat. And I'm just going to come down just a little, see? Now remember, at this point, it doesn't have to be perfect. You've got another whole paint opportunity next week to really make it perfect. And if you want to shape it a little, you can use your Paint to help shape it. See how pretty that comes out? Alrighty, and now we're going to do his feathers. Now I'm just going to take a little black and put on this brush. This is a 1/4 inch brush. It's a lot larger. I think this will work. We'll see how it works. I may have to downsize a little, but I'm side loading, which means I'm making C's like this in my paint. And I'm just going to start and put it on like this. Right over my yellow brown, by the way. So those of you that are sweating and going, oh my God, what is she doing? What is she doing? You can put it black over yellow brown because, of course, the colors are compatible. And I'm swishing them around the way that the feather would go. So the feather would go like this, and I'm just adding it there. And then I'm going to add a little white by using my Paint eraser and really getting some feathers in there, okay? There. And I'm going to do the same thing on the tail. This is a very easy bird. So, you know, for those of you that are worried about doing birds, this is probably the easiest bird you could do. And I'm going to come back because I want it to be a little darker at the tail than it is at the end. So there. But remember, if you don't get it dark on this time, then you have plenty of time yet to do it, because we'll be able to darken these colors on the next fire. So don't worry about it. Now I'm taking my Paint, and I'm going to start making these into feathers. A little there, and a little here. I want them to kind of come back that way, yep. And a little here, here, here. There we go. And then down here, I'm just going to do a little. Now, it might look like it's kind of large this time, and that's fine, because you need the white on this time or you're not going to get it on the next time. So I'm a big advocate of doing the white now and getting it in there, and then on the next time you can fix it. And then you're just going to go through with either a, you know, if you have a Q-tip or an eraser, and just sort of clean up around him so that he's exactly the way you want him to be. And I want a little bit, I want this to come in a little bit right there. Wipe off your eraser in between using it. There we go. And then I've got 2 little feet, and I'm going to use my thin little brush. And I'm just going to put 2 little feet down here. Now I may have to go over these in a minute, but see how they come down? Okay. Now, this is going to be the lines I have there. I left because those are going to be my my fur. So I'm using yellow brown, and I'm just going this way, and I'm just going this way. Oops, come on, baby. Sometimes you have to put a little more oil on if you want the brush to drag all the way through a long stroke like that. So that way. Oil, what do I use? Everybody always asks. I use half and half copaiba and mineral oil. Now I'm just going to make it a little thinner by using my Paint eraser. And you can use the Paint to clean up and make things thinner. But you have to do it while the paint is still working for you. You can't do it after you fire, so make sure you like it at this point. Okay. Now I'm going to use the same little brush, clean it up, and I'm going to put a little green on it. I'm going to use this, which is a autumn brown. And I'm going to make a pen oil. This is my pen. It's a 207, I believe, on the 10 point. And I'm just going to use my regular oil. Now, I know that's contrary to what you've heard, but you can do that. Just don't put too much oil in. So when you get enough that you think it's going to drip pretty well, and watch, it'll drip for me. Come on, baby. Well, there's a drip right there, honest to gosh. If you can't see it there? It's right there. So it is the right consistency. Okay, so I'm going to put this back over here. You can also use this method for just signing your name. And you scoop the paint onto your pen, and then you check your pen on the tile to make sure. Hang on, I'm going to scoop this paint together too, so it's all together, yeah. And you check it on your tile to make sure there's not a big dollop on the end, because occasionally you will get that. And then I'm just going to go like this. There. And see how much better that looks? And do it over here. And just keep doing it. So that's another way of putting in these little needles. You might, when you're on an ornament, a lot of times you have to resort to maybe using a pen or something smaller than you normally would, just to get that fine look to it, because you don't want to make it look heavy-handed if it's an ornament. You want it to look cute. Okay. Put a few back here. All righty. I'm going to also sign my name. Let me just put my initials. That's all I do at this point. There. So that's all done. This is what I have done so far. We've done the yellow-brown, and we've done the black, and we've done the little bit of the, you can see the nice fine evergreen there. Now I'm going to start working on the little berries. Now, normally I use as big a brush as I can, but I've learned lately at some of these seminars that I've been at that using a smaller brush is probably a good idea. And I have a little carnation on here now, and I'm just going to put in my berries like this. Leaving the center, leaving a highlight so that it looks good. Now, let me show you what I did on these other berries. I had other berries I was doing, and I put white on them today to create a highlight. I think sometimes that's the best route to go. It also gives you more of a painted look, but leave the highlight initially. See if you like it. If you don't, then you can always put a little more on with a white. This is an off-white ornament that I'm painting on. It's like that Lenox color. I'm going to just take you can also wipe out a highlight like that. And so consequently, it may not be looking much like a real highlight. So, okay, I've got them here. You just do two little sides like that. And like I said, I'm using carnation. For me, the carnation seems to be a really pretty Christmassy red. It never fires out, and it always looks beautiful. So that's one of the reasons I like it. And then I have 3 down here. 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Probably shouldn't have done them first, because you know how it is. We're going to be doing the back. Now, I'm going to take this off, and I'm going to show you... where's my plate? Up here. Holly, a little bit larger than what we have there, just so you can see how I would do it. Now, this is the holly leaf, and typically, oops, I need some oil. Can't just do it. Typically, I would use like a chartreuse or something to come down the middle, and then I would just sort of lightly add some color to the middle of it, just so I have it. And then I would do the sides and pick a color that I like. This might be a little... And I just sort of, I sketch them in. I don't do a heavy paint, and then I go back on my brush and kind of almost do like you do when you're, you know, doing the background. Okay, and here's this. I like that, and I blew it. Okay. And here's this. You want it a little darker where the berries are. You can put it in this way. You can also put it in, put the vein in if you want with whatever you have, a liner, a pen, or you can just scratch it in. Some people do that. They just go like this and they just scratch it in. That's up to you. But this is how I do my holly now. I do this on the first coat, and I pull out the little, go back and smooth it and pull out the little points. There's also a holly that has multiple points, which I prefer to do, and that's one where you go like this, and then this, and then this, and then this, and then you come down the other side and go like this, oops, this, and then this, and then this, and then this, and then you have to wipe it out in order to get this center section. So however you want to do them, I clean my brush then and go through and sort of wipe it out a little bit, just so that it's not so, so that I've got something to work with on the next time. And that's kind of how I do my holly. So I'm going to take a brush, again, a 1/2 inch brush, a 1/4 inch brush. I think this is good. I'm going to double load it. I'm loading it with like a moss green and maybe a grass green, because I kind of like the grass green. And I'm going to pick one that I like. And oops, needed to check that. I got a little too much paint on there. There we go. And I'm going to put, this one's behind that one. So you're putting a little dark up in here because you want it to be behind. And then you're pulling it over this way. I'm just using the dark now, just doing the points. See how I'm just doing the points? That gives us some highlights for next time. And that's what you want. You want to be able to deal with some highlights. Over here, I'm going to do the same thing. Come into the middle, like that. Come out from the middle, like that. But I don't fill in the middle. I only work on the points. And the points here. And a little bit there. Okay. Now, this guy's on top. He's going to be a slightly lighter color. So I've got this that I put there. This is a chartreuse or a moss. And again, I'm just going to do the points. This point, I'm using the corner of my brush. See how I'm doing it? Look, there. It's very simple. Just pulling the corner of my brush, pulling it, and then over here, I'm just going to tap it. Okay. So that's how we're going to do the rest of these, and these are pretty simple. Now here, I got my berries over the top, so I've got to carefully lay in the green behind them. There we go, there we go. And then do the points, points, points. Oops, getting carried away there. Points, I want it smooth, points and points. Okay. And this is one that's folded in half. So I'm just going to do it in a solid color right now. Your highlight's coming from this way, and I probably will do it like this, and this, and this. And then we get a little bit of highlight right there, which is still consistent. See? We'll put a little more green over here. And then this guy, I'm making him on top, so I'm going to do him with the lighter green, but a little darker green right at the base where the berries are. I'm just tapping around them so that they have some green. And then there. And then I do the end here. Maybe that whole side, actually. I haven't done that on the others. And then a little bit there. It's a lighter color, so next time I can put in the darker. And that's this done, okay? The only other thing is I don't like the way that the bird here ends very abruptly, so I'm just going to take my Q-tip and kind of tap it just to get more of a blending there, because I don't like that sudden ending. Now let me show you a quick way to do the back of them so that it looks like you did marbleizing. Let me move this. So remember how I was showing you how you dip luster in water, and you have to have a plastic bag, and you have to have a place for it to dry, and all of this. Okay, well, it's nice if you do, but there's a quicker way to do it. And I learned this in Ohio from the ladies there. Thank you very much. They know everything about everything, so they're a great group to watch. So, and you also need a stand or something to put it on when you're done. The good news is you don't have to put the tape on or any resist on. You're only going to work on the side and the here. This is how I did this, and I didn't cover the front at all. I didn't cover the front at all. Okay. So you're going to take some turpentine. Oh, you also need a toothpick, sorry. Okay, so let's review again. You need a toothpick, you need an eyedropper, an ornament, a stand, some turpentine, and some luster. Get the luster open, so you're all set to go. This is a nice dark one, so I thought you'd be able to see it pretty easily. I'm going to take some turpentine, and I'm just going to drop it on here, okay? I'm going to set that down. You lick this. And you put it on here. I might need a little more turpentine. There we go. And you can put it on that way. You can put it on this way. And you're going to turn it and blow it. Now, some did drip around to the front. We'll take care of that in a minute. I'm just going to take a little drip down the sides here. Drip down the sides here. And I'm going to take and continue to apply. See how it comes out? I will put this in here now. It's going to start to dry. You can also use a Q-tip if you want, just to sort of move it around a little bit so you don't have big globs and you have some. There you go. And you can use a Q-tip on this side too, just to avoid those big lumps and bumps down at the bottom. And that's it. Now, going to let it dry. Then I will take some of my turp and wipe off the front part where I have, and I'll do it now just so you can see, but I'm going to take some turp, put it on a rag or a Kleenex in this case, and just wipe it down. Turn it, wipe it again. Ta-da. That's how you do it without all the mess and fuss. You don't have to do the front. You can just take turp and wipe it off. You just take some turp and drop it on, and then take your toothpick, lick the toothpick so it doesn't go into the toothpick, and take the color and put around it and blow it where you want it. You can use a straw if you want to blow it, or you can just use a hair dryer. You can turn it any way you want, and it will come out really beautiful. Look at that. That's going to be gorgeous when it's all dry. And I let it dry completely before I put it into the kiln. Now this is the green I used. It's Reed's green. It's an old green. And this is what I got from the other one. See how pretty that is? This will be blue. And then you just have to decide what you want to put on it. So, our little bird and holly for today. There it is. I'm going to put this in the kiln, and I'm going to fire it. And then next week, we will go ahead and see, I have black luster on this. You see the black luster? Yeah. And next week, we will go ahead and we will finalize it by deepening what we need to deepen and what have you. But this will be a beautiful little ornament for somebody. I'm not putting any background on it because the color of the ornament is like an ivory. So I'm not putting any background on it. And then there's, like I said, with the holly, you can also put on the white if you need to. And that will also help your berries. And I think it will fire pretty much like that. You just have to experiment. Some of these will take 2 fires. Some of them will take 3 fires. You can't do this on bisque, just bisque. It has to be glazed porcelain in order to do this. So pick up those brushes, keep painting. I will see you next time. Bye-bye. Program. And I hope you'll take a minute to subscribe so that other people can learn more about China painting and we can get the word out to more people. You also can look at the links below. My Paintnporcelain.com website has a lot of freebies and printables for new and experienced painters, as well as studies, supplies, and even some of my hand-painted china. So thank you again, and I'll see you next time.